knockouts, is confident that the time has come for his first big test.
Every fight is an obstacle. I mean, the guy has more knockouts than I have fights, so he has to be an obstacle. But I won't let that obstacle deter me from anything happening in my future. He can't win the fight.
Well, he's a hard puncher. Hasim Rahman is. He's still learning how to punch. Now he's trying to punch through his adversaries, not punching to them. Something Jenks Morton, his trainer, teaching him. Hasim Rahman.
And Ross Purity, his opponent tonight, has been punching through his opponents of late. Since the draw against Morrison that picked up his confidence, 9 fights, 9 wins, 9 KOs, and all have come within the first 4 rounds.
Yeah, and with that new confidence now, that Morrison fight, and a new management team, Ross Purity is ready to sail to the top of the heavyweights.
How heavy are these heavyweights? On the tail of the tape, Purity the bigger of the two at 6'3", 245. Rahman solid as a rock at 6'2.5" and 233 pounds. We're in Rochester for this scheduled 10-round heavyweight fight, and the rules in New York. Standing 8 count is in effect. 3 knockdown rule is in effect. You cannot be saved by the bell in any round, and scoring on the 10-point must-scoring system. We're ready for the introduction. So into the ring, and our ring announcer, the Professor, Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to you, and welcome to the Rochester War Memorial here in beautiful Rochester, New York. We have a big night of action coming away. The Eye of the Tiger, brought to you by Rising Star International, along with Charles Rapp Enterprises and Robert Middleman, along with Budweiser, the undisputed king of beers. Well, fans, this bout coming away is one of our featured attractions. It presents the big boys of boxing, heavyweights in the ring, scheduled for 10 rounds of boxing. Introducing to you our referee in charge of this bout. He'll be giving instructions after the introductions, Dick Pakosdi. All right, fans, here we go. Introducing to you first on my right, fighting out of the red corner. He is wearing green trunks with black trim, hailing from Kissimmee, Florida, by way of Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. He weighed in at 245 pounds. His record includes 17 wins, 8 losses, 1 draw, with 15 big wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Diesel Power, Ross Purity. And his opponent across the ring, he's ready to fight on my left out of the blue corner, wearing black trunks with white trim, and fighting out of Baltimore, Maryland. He weighed in at 233 pounds. He is unbeaten in his campaign in the ring with 12 wins, no losses, 11 wins coming by way of knockout. Here is the undefeated and hard-hitting Hasim the Rock Rahman. Once again, a referee in charge, Dick Pakosdi, now to give instructions.
Chief second. We want the chief second here. Only the chief second. Okay, guys, I gave your instructions in the dressing room earlier. Expect you to obey my commands at all time and box clean. Touch gloves now, go back to your corner, I'll get you going.
Well, our John Goodman lookalike, referee Dick Pakosdi, and into the corner now of Ross Purity, who hairs the crowd behind this man, The Rock, who's from Baltimore, but has spent some time here helping the promoters with this fight card. It is a packed house here at the Rochester War Memorial Auditorium. A great turnout from the fans here in upstate New York. Close to 6,000. Standing room only at the War Memorial.
A terrific crowd and a knowledgeable crowd. These are boxing fans here. They love the sport. They follow the sport. Great amateur program.
And these are quick starting heavyweights. Purity owns 8 first-round knockouts. Rahman owns 7. And they are banging in the first 30 seconds.
Look how high the hands of Ross Purity are. He knows about Hasim Rahman, about that fast start, about that power early. Trying to stay on on the inside of his power, Ross Purity, and trying to land some of his own. Ross Purity said, tonight I must make him respect me early in this match.
Purity is also a fighter that now has learned a little more about the technical aspect, as has Hasim Rahman. Purity was a former defensive end at the University of Texas, El Paso, where he teamed with Seth Joyner and Tony Tolbert. Started boxing his first 2 pro fights. He was still in school, and he said he did not really want to pursue football because as a kid he always wanted to box, but he had no amateur fights. He hit the gym, hit the bag for a month, stepped right into the ring for his first fight, and had no idea what it was really all about. And it was actually the Morrison fight. He looks at tapes of that one, and he still sees in that fight, even though he had Morrison down twice and got the draw, controversial draw in that one. He's watching tape, says, I still didn't know how to fight in that one. I was slapping with my hook. I didn't know how to finish him off when I went down. But Purity with some new people behind him, Jim Martin, Josh Aguilar, and now learning the game, as is The Rock, who in 12 fights has fought just 19 rounds. His average fight lasts 1.5 rounds. And he said it was time for him to step up, to get some rounds, and to find a measuring stick, and that's what he feels Ross Purity is to him.
And he is trying to settle down a bit. Rahman is. He's trying to use his jab, trying to throw straighter punches, mix them in with his hooks. He says his best punch is that left hook. He describes himself more now as an adaptable fighter, a boxer-puncher. Hasim Rahman.
Well, Rahman says he's not wasting punches, not missing anymore. Used to wear himself out missing a lot of punches, that he's not charging forward, as you can see here. Now he's stalking. He's looking for the opening. He was running in, trying to get lucky, not setting his fighters up. 1 round down, no knockout. Tuesday night fights on USA. Al Albert along with the champs, Sean O'Grady, 2 heavyweights. Big heavyweights, 6'2½", 233. Hasim the Rock Rahman in the black trunks, and 6'3", 245-pound Ross Purity in the green.
And you can see the work that they've been doing in the gym with Rahman. Look at him moving around. The good fighters try to circle their adversaries, and that's what he's trying to do now, trying to learn more about boxing.
And he has Janks Morton in his corner.
Yeah, veteran corner man. Worked with many of the top greats. Ken Norton, he worked with in college, like at Missouri State. He boxed in college in the late 50s himself. Greg Page, Matthew Saad Muhammad, Alexis Arguello he worked with, Livingstone Bramble. He was, of course, with Ray Leonard for 18 years, Janks Morton. And that's what Rahman is relying on. He's relying on that experience in the corner. He says, I have the experience, not in my actual fights. My experience is in my corner. Janks Morton, Claude Boger, Jim Strickland. And he does a good job of relying on that. And look at this jab from him. This is something that we haven't seen in the past from Rahman. Ross Purity better get his jab going. He said he understands the importance of the jab. He was going to try to set that early in this fight to establish the pace. He said, I wanted to show Rahman that I'm there to fight. I think he did that in the first round, but now this round he can't allow for Rahman to control the jab from the outside. Ross says, I am still learning in the ring. Controlling the jab again on the outside, the Rahman. Couple of nice jabs from Hasim. Downstairs to the body. One thing that Purity cannot do is just become a punching bag. He has to punch back. He's got to take control of this fight. And you can do it like that.
Purity is in no hurry. I mean, he's a guy who went 10 tough rounds with Tommy Morrison. Rahman has never gone 4. Got past the second only twice. And now it is Purity, the veteran, pouring in, and Rahman flailing away.
This is the kind of fight that I expected in that opening round. Well, these fans love it. They wanted to see the brawl.
And the work being done in the rock corner, and joining us here at ringside is Christy Martin, whose husband Jim not only trains Christy but also involved with Ross Purity. And I think if you watch the Tyson-Bruno fight a couple of weeks ago, people still talking about the thrilling, exciting, heart-throbbing fight. And I'm not talking about Tyson, I'm talking about the victory by Christy in that fight. As a matter of fact, Christy, this picture adorns Sports Illustrated, and you're such a sweetheart. What is your reaction when you see this picture? This was in the heart of that battle, your victory.
Well, it was definitely a tough fight, and we were excited to get the opportunity to fight on that card. But I say that isn't my best side.
That fight with Deidre Gogarty, you beat her in 6 rounds. This fight scheduled for 10. Was it hard going past those 3 rounds into the 4th and 5th and 6th round?
No, I felt like I was in great condition, and just as Ross is going to get this guy in the later rounds, I think I came on in the later rounds of that fight.
Yeah, having trained with Jim, I know that you know how important the later rounds are in a fight. So, but it is a slow start for Ross Purity. I thought he came out, both fighters didn't do much in that first round, but in that second round, it appeared as though Rahman took over.
It did. We were hoping that Ross would come out and fight somewhat of the style that we fought last Saturday against Deidre Gogarty, a little bit brawling and just try to go out and take this guy's heart. And I think that's going to happen. The last round, Ross landed some great shots, and it looks like he's in great shape. We're going to get this guy.
Have you essentially told Ross to take it easy? Don't worry if you take him into later rounds. The Rock does not have that late round experience.
Exactly. He has only gone 4 or 6 rounds, and Ross has been there with Tommy Morrison for 10, and his caliber of opponents have been much better.
What are the things that Ross Purity is watching out for in an opponent like Rahman?
Well, as we all know, he has a great punch, so Ross needs to be very cautious, keep his hands up, keep his head moving, and try to take the attack to him a little. Let's see what his defense is like.
Ross is being cautious, but is there a danger of being too cautious in a fight like this?
Exactly, and that's one of Ross's reputations and his downfall, that he's a little too cautious and waits too long. Jim's trying to motivate him and get him going.
Don't talk caution to Christy Martin.
That's right. We saw the picture.
Right, exactly.
Well, who said this, Christy? I'm a careless fighter, reckless. I get very impatient. I don't care if I get hit. It doesn't matter to me.
That's right. I think I said that. And that's the style and the attitude that I have. But I can understand watching Ross tonight why Jim wants to change that style a little.
You got to be careful what you say around Al Albert. He has a terrific memory.
Yes, yes.
So if we could take Christy Martin and put her in Ross Purity's body, are we talking a heavyweight champion of the world?
You know, Ross is going to do it with his own body and his own mind, I'm sure. I have a lot of confidence in Ross. 30
seconds to go in round number 3. Christy Martin, who in 18 minutes the other night advanced women's boxing more than anybody in the history of the sport.
Oh, yeah, what a great match. Real struggle.
Thank you very much.
Both of you showed great heart in that, you and Deidre Gogarty.
It was a great opportunity given to us by Don King, and all the exposure since then has been terrific.
It was, no question, the fight of that night. And we'll be back on the Tuesday Night Fights. Well, this is only the second time in his 13 fights that Hasim Rahman in the black trunks has made it to the 4th round. Generally, he'd have a guy out by now. And Ross Purity, the veteran, the 29-year-old, who is trying to make himself a name in the heavyweight division after an 8-8 start. Sounds a little like Lionel Butler, who worked his way up to as high as number 3 in the heavyweight division after a sub-500 start. Purity now has won 9 in a row since the draw to Morrison, all by knockout, and a victory here tonight would certainly be a headline type of victory for him. Don't you think so, Christy?
Most definitely. This is going to be a turning point for Ross Purity's career, and he needs a victory here tonight. Really, a good showing isn't enough. He needs the victory.
Yeah, very important match, Christy. And I know it's difficult for you to sit out here and watch. Your husband, Jim, works with Ross. What is it you think Jim is telling him between rounds?
Well, I know that Jim's telling him to double up on the jab and throw the big right hand after the jab, following right behind it. Ross really isn't doing that right now. He could also be landing the right hand lead left hook. I feel that would be a very good punch against Rock.
The fundamentally sound Christy Martin.
Right now, what would Christy Martin do to the Rock man?
Well, I would try what Ross is doing. Stand there and brawl. Right now, this is Ross's best chance.
I think that's your answer to fighting anybody.
Yes.
What does your husband think about your brawling style?
He gets upset with me when I get careless and put my hands down. Yeah. But otherwise, he thinks that I'm not much of a boxer.
Oh
no.
And now The Rock rocks Purity. Trying to withstand. Still a minute 10 to go. Purity is hurt. And he is swinging back, but protecting his left ear.
Yeah, doing a nice job of protecting around his face is Purity. Hasim Rahman just looking for that opening. It's a matter of time when you have a big, heavy hitter like Rahman in the ring.
And Rahman does not look tired at all here in the 4th.
But now can Ross Purity steal it back? A lot of fights what you try to do is wait for your opponent to throw a lot of punches, then you steal it back.
And he got it.
Waves.
It was actually Purity who did open it up, started to brawl, but it was Rahman who found the opening. These guys are not shy with the leather. Rahman stepping back, going upstairs. He has the body of Purity inviting some shots, but Rahman still continues to hit on.
Yeah, look at the body wide open. You can see it right there. Doing a good job protecting his chin is Purity, though. That's what you need to protect now because you're hurt. The powerful punching of Hasim Rahman. Watch. Crack. Look at the legs buckle. Back on his heels, ready to go down was Ross Purity. A big left hook that opened up. Rahman pouring it on in that 4th round. Ross Purity wanted to show Rahman that I'm here to fight, that I'm in this match, that I'm here to fight. I can take his best shots. Now that he has taken his best shots, hopefully for Ross Purity, he can show some of Rahman his power. Purity has taken too many of Rahman's punches without firing back.
Exactly. Ross has been here before. He's been in tough fights. So he may take a little bit of Rahman's heart. He stayed up to the hard shots, and he's coming back. He's going to come back strong in the later rounds, I'm sure.
Yeah, but the only problem is Rahman may come back in the later rounds, too. Rahman's been training with Jenks Morton. Says he's in the best shape of his life. He's trying to learn to relax. He says everything else will fall in place. He's been asking for some rounds. His last 6 fights, he's wanted to see what he could prove and what the long distance in a fight would show to him. This brings out everything in a man and even in a woman.
Most definitely. This is going to bring the best out in both guys, Ross Purity and Rahman.
Oh, nice jab, stiff, hard jab.
And now one of the most popular fighters in the U.S., Christy Martin, after battle on the undercard of the Tyson-Bruno fight. And she is trained by her husband, Jim, who is in the corner of Ross Purity. And now with some anxious moments, and there is Jim Martin, who you've known for how many years?
5 years.
And you went to him, you wanted to become a boxer?
Oh, actually, he was coerced into training me.
He was
Against his
coerced?
own will. But so far, it's been very successful, and we have a great relationship and a great time with boxing.
Well, yeah, he doesn't smart off to you.
All the time.
seen you fight.
All the time.
I'm not going to smart off to you.
Oh, no.
Nice work. Good walking around, too, from Rockman. This doesn't use much energy. He walks around and he jabs. Ross Purity is going to make Rockman tired. He's got to put pressure on. He's got to start hitting the body. This is a 10-round fight.
Krista, you guys spar together? I'm talking about in the ring.
No.
No.
It keeps a happy marriage. Doesn't spar with your marriage.
Well, no more damage inflicted here in the fifth, which seems to have flown by. Scheduled for 10 rounds. This is the longest already that Hasim Rahman has gone. 10 fights. He has ended within 2. He's had 1 fight that ended in the 3rd and 1 in the 4th. 12 victories, 11 knockouts. And this one continues into the 6th round. 10 rounds. Heavyweight battle in the green. Oh, now picking it up is Ross Purity. Once 8-1, and now with a record of 17-8. And now the referee, Dick Picosdi, calling a time.
Some of the tape coming loose from the right glove. I'm going to tape that back down.
Now, Krista, you and Jim have been involved with Ross Purity ever since the Morrison fight, the fight of notoriety for Ross. A draw against Morrison, very controversial. Most saw Ross winning, knocking down Morrison on a couple occasions. That fight was back in July of '94. So you've had him for 9 fights. He has 9 knockouts. And what essentially has been the biggest change in Ross Purity over those 9 fights?
What Jim has liked to see in Ross has been more of an aggressive attack. He's not being as aggressive as Jim had hoped for tonight. But I feel like that he will come on as Jim's going to keep encouraging him. And if he can stay in there and take these bombs, at the end, Ross is going to take over the fight.
Christie has been fighting fighters like Ron Brooks, Stan Jones, Andre Smith, a lower level of classification of fighter than Rahman. Do you think this step up is too much for him at this point?
I don't think it's too much because he has been working very hard in the gym, and Jim's been working with him on a lot of techniques and really twisting in on his hooks, getting the best leverage, and throwing combinations. So if Ross just listens to what Jim says in the corner, he can turn this fight around.
Well, it looks like he is listening this round because he is applying more pressure and he's trying to throw more punches.
If Ross just throws the punches, something big's going to land, and we'll see what kind of chin Rock has also.
Well, he's bothering Rahman here. It's not as if Rahman has been facing the who's who in the heavyweight world. The last 3 opponents that Rahman has knocked out, each in the first round, at a combined record of 17 and 38. So this is certainly a major step up for the young 23-year-old Hasim Rahman from Baltimore. Watch the head, says the referee.
Watch the head. That's what Rahman was complaining about. Purity boring in. Oh, how effective a left jab would be.
Main event coming up, NABF Junior Welterweight Championship, featuring 2 former world champs. Rahman trying to take his best shots, just reaching back and firing away.
Ross is staying too squared up with Rahman, and he can't get the leverage or the power that he needs.
Yeah, and he's pushing. This pushing doesn't get you anywhere in boxing.
Exactly. He's using a lot of energy just by pushing with him.
Exactly. Football, I know it gets you a lot. Push your opponent back to the end zone, but in boxing, it gets you hurt.
He needs to give himself some room to punch on the inside instead of lean on him so much.
Maybe even sometimes take a step back himself, reset and unload. He's got to nail him.
And that's something that he definitely knows how to do.
What was the Rahman talking about? Look, the 2 banged heads right there. Rahman said something to the referee. Hey, he's butting me with his head. And what you have with a fighter who is so aggressive like Purity is, trying so hard to get in there, to get on the inside, is a lot of times they'll inadvertently use their heads to get in there.
Al Albert with the champ, Sean O'Grady. And perhaps a future champ, Christy Martin, who made such a wonderful impression on the boxing world on the undercard of the Mike Tyson-Frank Bruno fight in Las Vegas about 11 days ago. And she has joined us for the last few rounds, and we are enjoying your presence. I don't know if you're enjoying here watching your fighter Ross Purity banging it out for 7 rounds. But right now, I think in the Rothman camp, the concern of whether heading into the 7th round, where he has never been, of whether his punches now still have that kind of effect. Ross Purity does not have a knockout past the 4th, but he did put Morrison down in the 10th round, and now he is digging in.
He's being so careless with that left hook, and as we know, when you throw a left hook, you're so susceptible to receive a left hook. So that's definitely, I'm sure, making Jim nervous.
Definitely looking like a different fighter here than earlier in this fight. Christy, I know you're nervous. I can see you boxing over here, bobbing and weaving.
It's definitely harder to watch than to be in there.
What are some of the things you're now looking at when you view Rothman to where Ross Purity could or should be taking advantage?
Well, really, instead of looking at what Rothman is doing wrong, I'm trying to look at what Ross is doing wrong. And if he would just now not get so squared up, he could get leverage on that uppercut. He could get deliver those hooks. He's entirely too square now.
What do you mean by too square? You mean he needs to take a step over or turn to his side?
To me, his feet are too parallel with each other. If he had his right foot back, he could really get the leverage on the uppercut, twist in with the hip, and really get the power from the punch. And that's going to set him up for the hook.
They're kind of on his heels a bit.
Exactly.
Just very quickly before we let you go, what do you mean you coerced Jim into teaching you how to fight?
Well, he wanted to have my ribs broken the first day, and then he thought I was going to have a
To
bad
dissuade
attitude.
you.
Right.
Could have he done it another way?
Exactly. I was just nice to him.
Well, it was a pleasure to watch you fight the other night. A pleasure to have you join us here tonight.
Thank you. It was a great experience.
Okay, Christy Martin. And we will pause now for a word from your local cable systems. The big crowd at the Rochester War Memorial Auditorium. And they are enjoying this heavyweight encounter between Hasim Rahman, the undefeated 23-year-old from Baltimore, 12-0 with 11 knockouts. He of the black trunks, and Ross Purity in the green trunks, the 29-year-old from Kissimmee, Florida, originally from Phoenix. Checks in with a record of 17-8-1 with 15 knockouts. These two fighters combined 29 wins, 26 KOs. It's the uppercut by Purity that was able to deck Tommy Morrison. And he's trying the uppercut here in the 8th to score on the Rock, who has been solid as a Rock, and he's been looking for the experience in this fight tonight. Why go up against the veteran Purity? Well, he said it was time to get some rounds in, which he's doing, and to use this one as a measuring stick. And we have the champ, Sean O'Grady, now in the corner of the Rock with Jenks Morton.
Jenks, you're getting more pressure this round from Ross Purity. Does that worry Rock at all?
No, you see Rock will pick it up. He's in good condition.
But Ross was waiting for the last half of this fight.
Yeah, no, that doesn't bother me. Rock is in condition. We do 12, 14 rounds in the gym.
Could this be your best chance to catch Purity coming in?
Yeah, he should. He should be fine.
What are you telling him between rounds?
Nothing. Use his jab to kind of stay away from him and stay off the ropes.
Yeah.
He's doing a fine job. This is his first 10 round. I think he's doing a beautiful job.
He's done a wonderful job, but at this point, do you try to catch Ross coming in, or do you just try to go for the 10-round decision?
Well, we'll be satisfied with 10-round decision. But if Ross walks into something, that'll be fine with us also.
I know he wanted a defining fight. Do you think he's getting it tonight? He's controlled throughout.
This is what we need. We need some rounds. You know, Rockman going in and getting guys out there in 2 or 3 rounds, and you know, he needs this work. Keep your jab.
How good is this experience for Rahman?
Real good. We know Ross been around. He's been around most all the camps, all the heavyweight champions. He's been around all those guys.
No worries or concerns about the 10-round decision?
No,
How do you have the fight scored?
Rock way ahead of him. Yeah, he's way ahead of him.
Okay, comfortably ahead.
Yes.
Jace Morton, you look comfortably relaxed over here, and for good reason. I think your man's way ahead too. Al, he knows what he wants, just nice and patient. If he gets the knockout, he'll take it, but he's looking for 10 rounds.
Come on out here. Come on.
The decision of the Rockman team in taking this fight against Purity, they felt that they wanted him to step up here earlier in the career. They wanted him to learn what it's like to meet tougher competition and rather do it at this time than build some false security in Rockman. And they're actually looking at that Shannon Briggs fight. They felt he had built up the false security against light opponents and then gets whacked out in 2. They didn't want that to happen to Rock. The doors open for the first time of the War Memorial in 1955. 41 years of action right here, and the War Memorial getting a multi-million-dollar facelift. And this is one of the bigger nights here in the history of the arena. Packed house, close to 6,000 on hand, and they have come to watch the hometown hero in the main event, Charles Murray, going up against another former world champion, Tony Lopez. The crowd really anticipating that and enjoying this slugfest between 2 big heavyweights.
Yeah, you got to watch the head. Look how close their heads are. They're banging in there too. Trying to move over to the side. Looking for the holes is Rockman. Rockman says that now I'm trying to elevate my career to another level. He has been working more on body shots, something that in this fight would help him.
And the pace certainly has changed since the opening 2 rounds. Both fighters trying to get that respect early. A lot of punches thrown in the first couple of rounds for heavyweights.
Well, Rockman likes it when opponents advance. He doesn't like to hunt for them. He likes them to come in.
Looking for the shot, downstairs, upstairs. Purity taking it in stride. You know, the funny thing, what Rockman had said, that first 12 fights, 11 knockouts, all coming very early in the fights. He says he's more relaxed now. He was tense, looking to end it quickly, but now that he was looking to end it quickly, he found that he wasn't looking to end it quickly. He's finding that he was.
Yeah, oh, it's so hard when you're going out there looking for the home run ball or the home run phrase. Yeah. You go in there looking for that home run ball and you try to knock somebody out. You can't find the sweet spot on your opponent's chin. When you relax and you just calmly get in there and work the fight and you get into the mode of the fight without regard to trying to set your opponent up or trying to knock him out. When you go in there and just try to relax, let the punches flow, it's amazing how many times you get a knockout. And that's just what Rockman is doing there. See him put these combinations in, kind of jumping with his shots, moving around, having fun, loose with his punches, real elusive as a fighter.
2 Rams locking horns here.
Yeah, looking for that home run is Purity. He may have mopped himself into a corner. I guess you could say knocked yourself into a corner.
And we will go to a 10th and final round. 9 down, 1 to go. Main event, Rochester's own Charles Murray versus Sacramento's former world champion Tony Lopez. One career continues on. And essentially for Lopez, if he loses, one career could be over. Scheduled for 12 rounds. It's an NABF title fight. And that's the classic matchup, boxer versus puncher.
They had 2 contrasting styles. And a fighter in Lopez fighting out of desperation against a fighter in Murray who, coming off a big win, elevated himself back up there.
Rockman with a little teasing of Purity. Rockman has heard the final bell once, and that was in his 4th fight. His 4th fight against Jeff Williams, who had 16 fights, was 11-5, and Williams actually took Rockman the distance that a scheduled 4-rounder.
Yeah, he said that was his toughest fight. He said it was tough because it taught me that I can't go in there expecting the KO, something he really hasn't done tonight. He landed a good shot back in that 4th round that wobbled Purity, almost putting him down.
And Purity sending Rockman back with that right hand, and again tries the right. Valuable 10-round experience for Hasim Rahman. His corner with Jenks Morton in there. Very confident that he has this fight on the cards if it goes to 10.
Okay, break it. Break it right here.
Perhaps he'll afford himself a new cup. See that tape around the cup? That's because it's worn out. You on that cup, that you get a bladder protector and kidney protectors, and when it becomes so worn out like that, you take and you tape it up. See the tape around the top of the waist of Hasim Rahman? Perhaps after this fight, he can afford himself a new cup.
You saw the scar on the side of Rockman's face, and also part of his ear. Upper portion of his ear is gone. The other side of his face. He was in an accident 5 years ago. A car hit the truck that he was in. He was thrown from the truck. Then the truck fell on top of him. Broke his wrist, his arm. Side of his face was essentially ripped off. It was a miracle there was no further damage. They had to cut him out of the truck, and a couple of 100 stitches to basically sew his face back on. His friend was killed in the accident, and 2 others in the truck walked away with minor cuts.
Yeah, what an amazing story. And here he is boxing and coming back, waiting for Purity to punch himself out. Hasim senses the final bell, and there it is. Still relaxed. Look, this is a man that has not gone 10 rounds before.
Not gone more than 4.
And he is still relaxed, relying on that experience in the corner. Ross Purity had gone 10 rounds only 1 time before, that against Tommy Morrison.
And the streak of 9 straight knockouts for Ross Purity has been snapped by the youngster Hasim Rahman. Now it's a question, who won the fight? We'll find out when we return to the Rochester War Memorial Auditorium on tonight's edition of USA's Tuesday Night Fights. Al Albert and Sean O'Grady in Rochester, New York, USA's Tuesday Night Fights. And all of the judges scoring are in. Jimmy Lennon Jr. has the decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 10 rounds of boxing, we have a unanimous decision. Here are the score totals. Judge at ringside, Don Ackerman, scores at 98-92. Don Nodecker sees the bout at 97-93. Joe Ware scores the bout 97-92. All 3 in favor of the winner, and still undefeated, Hasim Rahman.
Funny, Sean, as the scores were being read, you could see on the face of Purity kind of shaking his head, knowing what was going to happen next.
Oh, yeah, well, he knows he gave away too many of those early rounds, and in the last few rounds, he really didn't score like he wanted to. Coming into this fight, he had a lot of confidence. He knew what he wanted to do. Unfortunately, didn't quite carry it out. Well, he's been there before. 17-9-1 his record goes to now.
Well, it snaps his 9-fight win streak since the draw with Morrison. And for The Rock, a terrific night. He goes 10 rounds with a guy who's been there. He comes away with a victory. He now has that experience, and he remains undefeated. He's still learning. He's aware of that. 13-0, Hasim "The Rock" Rahman in the heavyweight division.